what made him so tough, what made him so strong and resilient and committed to disciplines when he agreed to be disciplined about art and all. He said what made him have that was the adversity that he grew up with and like the rough neighborhoods and getting into those fights and stuff. So he said he has to represent adversity to his kids.
If you're not raised with discipline, if it's not incorporated into you very early, it takes a monumental shift in the way you think about life.
You know, my job as a father is creating this kind of adversity in my kid's life. I have to, and I need my children to learn the lessons that I've learned. I just really can't have them learn it the way that I learned it. You know?
And that's something I'm trying to figure out. And so you as a dad, like I'm like, did you ever have that moment where you felt like I need to represent some sort of adversity to my kids while being loving and kind to where they have obstacles to overcome to prepare them for the world? Like that was such a strange concept to me, but I felt like it was vital that I don't know how to do that. Like what does that look like as a dad?
Yeah, I've got 2 daughters, so I'm pretty much a softie when it comes to them. Yeah, whatever they wanted is what I tried to give them.
The adversity, adversity you represented for them was, what do you want, darling?
No, I mean, I think there's, and I don't know about adversity, but like definitely representing an authority.
Okay.
And the line of, yes, I'm here to nurture you and provide and protect you, but also there's a line that you got to cross that says there's also this authority where I've got to make sure you stay within the right lines.
With 3 younger boys, I always feel like there's times that I'm missing the mark. Like even right now, like we're talking and I've got my boys, they're playing some Nintendo, and I don't have them trapped there all day long, but it's like for 30 minutes or so, they're going to be back there playing Nintendo. Like, how do I create in a loving way hurdles and obstacles and adversity for them to bow up and overcome to where they know what that feels like? You know, I've thought about sitting them in the garage in front of the punching bag and like have them yell at me things like, I'm going to knock you out or whatever, and like kind of get all their blood pumping and then be like, all right, let's calm down. Let's get this back down. Let's see how it feels. But I don't know how to do that. Like how you create that spirit of sort of adversity for your kids, especially. I got 3 boys. So it's like, I want them to be leaders. I want them to be conquerors, you know, and for all of you guys who think all masculinity is toxic, well, get over it. You know, I don't care. Flip to another podcast.
I think physical challenges are good. Not just like, let's go out and play, you know, and do something physical for fun, but like kind of like you mentioned with the punching bag, like have a set challenge for them to do. I don't know if you've heard of Jason Wilson. He runs the Cave of Adullam in Detroit.
I don't know him or the Cave of Adullam. Let's talk about this a second.
Yeah, so he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's got a documentary that just came out last month. It's on ESPN Plus. He saw a need for young black boys in Detroit needing a strong example. And he deals a lot with that. So it's a martial arts studio, and he teaches them martial arts, but he also teaches them self-control. A big part of it is self-control. He checks on their grades. He's like, you know, fully into this kid's life, and they've got like a waiting list of kids trying to get into his classes.
Yeah.
If you ever see any of his videos online, it's brings you to tears to watch him communicate with these boys, because you know you can see his care, but also the way that he builds them up. And then he brings the family in there, and he makes the dad like fight. I'm getting choked up a little bit here. He makes the dad fight for his son, and it's powerful.
Man. What was his name again?
Jason Wilson.
Jason Wilson. That's something people don't know, man. And you're a dad, so I know that you feel this, but dad to son, if they fall short, if they did not get everything out of a sport, or if they didn't excel, or they didn't do X, Y, and Z and get it right and crush it, you don't feel like it's their fault. Mm-hmm. You don't feel like it's because the ability's not in them, because in your head you're like, they can conquer the world. They're the toughest, brightest, smartest, coolest. So you feel like it has to be your fault. You know, or at least I do, where it's like, if he's not the best at basketball, it's not his fault, it's me. It's because I did not do it. I did not prepare him enough. And to think about now some of these boys that you're talking about, boys that, even some that don't have that father figure too.
Right.
To not have anybody in your corner promoting you from the bottom up, from when you're really young, and pushing you and pushing. And by promoting, that's what I mean. I don't mean coddling you and saying everything's going to be all right. I mean like pushing you in the ways that I said I don't even have figured out. Like, I wonder how to make my kids tough and strong and all these things, when all I want to do is hug them and love them. You know, I don't know how you do it, especially if you're not a faith-based person, if you're not a believer, if you're not raised in that structure. I don't know how you do. Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, I had the thought recently that kind of along those lines. As a parent, you know, you want success for your child in the future when they're grown. I had kind of played it out in my mind. If somebody asked me about raising kids, I would tell them, make them do things. Make them do things they don't want to do. Because that's that adversity you're talking about, you know. It's like, okay, start them on instruments, you know, musical lessons, and like this, and say, you know, this is what we're going to do right now. You're going to learn how to play an instrument of your choice. You know, you're going to learn how to use a paintbrush the correct way. You're going to learn how to build something with your hands. You know, you learn how to use tools. You know, set these things up that are skill-based, that they can really learn fast when they're young. Because when they get older, it's going to be very hard for them to pick it up.
Like
their interest is not going to be there.
They're like fresh Play-Doh.
Yes.
When they're young, you can just do whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like over time, it's like the Play-Doh's been setting out.
Yeah.
Like it wants to bend, and then it just snaps.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly changing and adapting and molding it, like that to me, I agree with you. That to me is like the perfect example. Like, young minds are moldable, young people are moldable, and they can stretch to do things and learn how to do things. And I do feel like part of the reason as an adult is that I feel like if there's something I want to get done, I can do it. It's not because I'm a dude. Like, most guys have that ingrained in them. If you had a dad at all, it's like, you got to figure it out. Like, there's the flat tire, you got to fix it. Like, it's just guyhood, you know, or manhood or whatever. It's like, you got to figure out how to do these things. You feel like you have to produce something. But one of the reasons why I feel like if there's something I need a challenge set before me, I'm going to go ahead and figure it out, is because I was, like you said, forced to do some things that I wasn't even interested in, you know, but I needed, and I made the choice to do them. Like learning how to do hardwood and work construction at a young age. I learned how to put things together, and there was a payday at the end, and that's how I bought my stuff and everything. It's like, I agree, dude, yes, I agree with you 100%. In our house, it's like, you're going to try every sport, and the ones that you like the most, we're going to go. And I just had a conversation with my boys the other day, that now they're both really solid basketball players it's Pee Wee League, so nobody's a really solid basketball player, but they're doing the things they're supposed to, getting the rebounds, dribbling, scoring points in games, making good passes, doing good defense, hands where they're supposed to be. And I told them, I said, remember how when we first started about a year ago, you guys were terrible. And you could not make a basket. It was awful. And they're like, yeah. And we're like, is basketball more fun now that you're better at it, or is it fun to suck at it? And they're like, oh, it's way more fun now. And I'm like, exactly. Like, but you know how to get to point, like they're learning how you get to point A to point B, and that you can, that is possible. It's possible to get here, but it takes all these little things in between. If you like this clip from the Not Gospel Studios YouTube channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other links and videos. You can find them here, and subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy, that it's vegan, and all of those things. Keep being awesome because that's how God made you.